Awesome. Okay, we are live. I'm very excited to have this conversation today. First, Wayne, I want to thank you for giving up your time and coming here and having this conversation with me. I also want to just thank you for showing up. Period. Right. So if you
Absolutely.
want to just kind of open up and introduce yourself, and then we'll get started with the conversation.
Yeah. So, my name's Wayne. I am 28. I currently live in Comstock Park, Michigan, so about 11 minutes outside of Grand Rapids.
Oh, okay.
Um, Grew up in Midland for 20 years, and then moved out to Mount Pleasant, because I met a guy who's currently in the living room. So been with him for about 7 years now, going on 8. It'll be 8 in February. And yeah, just kind of started our lives out in Grand Rapids.
Awesome, awesome. So,
Yeah,
okay, let's get right to it, right? Because I
sure.
reached out to you. Of course, I knew about the event that Midland was hosting a couple weeks ago. I know there were different chatter about it, and I kind of followed that as well. And then, of course, I saw your article, and I said, I really need to reach out to him because I really want to have this discussion because I think that it's important to talk about it and also to give space to people to have this conversation and also hopefully benefit from it however they benefit from it. So growing up in this area, let's talk about that because as you said, you grew up, I think like in Beaverton, right?
No, in Midland, like
Oh, in Midland.
borderline,
Okay.
yeah, borderline Midland, Sanford
Sanford.
area.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So tell me how that was for you growing up here, just in general.
So I grew up pretty poor.
Hmm.
Um, we grew up actually in a trailer park. It was my mother, my father, my oldest sister, and then grandma lived with us before she had passed away.
Okay.
Um, so it was the five of us living in a trailer. Um, but even though I didn't have money, I wouldn't say I had a bad life.
Sure.
Um, One thing that I took from it was I always had friends to go play with.
Yeah.
There was always something to do, whether we were riding our bikes or we lived kind of like on the edge of the woods. So we
Oh,
were always like back there in the winter. We would do a bunch of sledding because we lived on the hill. Like our yard was the place to be. Dad would build us swings from the tree. Um,
oh,
so we always had something to do. We always had people to hang out with. So it honestly wasn't too terrible.
yeah, yeah. No, I
Um,
mean, I don't know why people equate not having a lot of money to like a bad life. I
it
mean,
allows you to use your imagination a little bit more.
which a
Like,
lot of kids don't do anymore.
no, they really don't.
Yeah.
They really don't. I blame technology, but then also I don't want to be that person because I definitely rely on technology far too often.
Don't we all? I mean, look
Right,
right now. I mean, this wouldn't be possible without it, right? So
exactly.
yeah. So, and I've lived here for a few years and, Midland is somewhat conservative, right?
Hmm.
I mean, I think that's fair to say. So with that being said, how was that for you as you grew? I mean, because you lived here until you were about 20, right? Am I
Yeah.
okay? So
Yep.
you lived here throughout your high school years. How was that during that part of your life living in a somewhat conservative area?
At first, it was fine, because I didn't know what being conservative was.
Mm.
I didn't really follow politics much. It was probably up until the Obama administration is when I really started following because then we started losing everything to, the Donald Trump administration. And I was like, holy crap, my life is about to end. So it
Mm.
was like then when I probably should have taken it a little bit more serious before then, but like that's kind of when I started taking politics seriously. So I didn't really know what being conservative meant. Um, and I kind of just stayed in my own lane. I
Mm.
knew that, the way that I am living my life or was living my life, I was going to have people that hated me. But everybody does. So I didn't really think of it as really a hindrance.
Right, right, right.
Um, until I actually started living my life. But I mean, up until then, I really can't say I lived a bad life. That Midland was really unkind to me.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
I but I also knew in the back of my mind that these people that would eventually tear me down, I never have to see them again. You know,
Mm.
once I'm out of high school, life is mine. I get to start and go do exactly what I want. Um, yeah,
Which is unfortunate, right? That part is
exactly.
unfortunate that you have to wait for another part of your life or to move
Hmm.
somewhere wherever you are, right? To have to be who you are. And I guess that's what I really want to touch on is that of course we know that, there's a lot of positive here, right? It's a lot of
Hmm.
positives here and a lot of great things. I just wonder, when I deal with different children or different people who live lives that people say are alternative lives, right? Lifestyles
Hmm.
or non-traditional, what they go through, right? Because I've always been kind of rebellious and kind of in my own lane. But I didn't really care about being ostracized for it. You get what I'm saying? People would
Yeah.
just say, oh, she's just a trouble kid or she's just, rebellious. But having that type of weight on you, where you think that someone is going to literally ostracize you or even like family members. So how was that as a child? Because I really want to get that message out for people that may also, struggle with that or
Hmm.
see that as something that's coming like you did. Like I know it's going to eventually come.
Yeah. I mean, living my life as a gay man, like I absolutely knew from an early age that that's kind of where my life was going to take me.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, back in like the early 2000s, we didn't really know what being gay meant, or it was just always, man and woman. That's what you
Mm,
had, that's what you dealt with, that's what you had to go with those flows, even though you had like these feelings of that doesn't seem correct.
yeah.
Um, so I remember at a really young age knowing or kind of understanding that like this isn't correct to me,
Mm,
but in order to make everybody else happy, I have to go with the flow.
mm,
Um, and I remember, some of my like moments that I'm not very proud of even in middle school there was a kid that would always get picked on because he was a little bit more flamboyant than most guys. Showed up to school for Halloween as a grandmother. Like that was his costume. And
well,
but I was friends with him.
mhm,
Um, but then I would also pick on him.
mm,
Um, and that's kind of like we see it every day within this community, the internalized homophobia. Even if you are out and proud, we see it with the bashing of transgendered youth, transgendered anybody. I mean, and even within like the black communities, we see so much racism, happening within the gay community too. And it's like we're not the ones that should be doing that. Nobody should be doing that, but we especially should not be doing that because we're here to uplift and make sure that everybody is safe within our community and within other communities. Um,
so why do you think that happens? Because I've heard that a lot. Where there's, and we understand that in all different subcultures and in different communities there's inner turmoil, but why
mhm.
do you think that is do people is it like a deflection thing, is it projection, what is it, why do you think that people do that when they know what it feels like to get that treatment?
It's a gatekeeping thing.
Mm,
Like it's you never actually know what's going on in somebody else's mind, so I can't really speak for everybody else, but
oh
like
sure.
but seeing the things that I've come across, not only am I a gay man, but I'm fat. Like which my the body that I live in
Mhm,
isn't necessarily the body that people want to look at or people want to um do things with. Um and so there's like this big stigma around like in order to be like the perfect gay, you need to be uh thin, you need to be muscular, you need to eat well, and you need to, like kind of keep up with the way that they want you to look and not the way that you want to look.
mhm,
So why it happens, I don't know, but it's
sure,
happening. And
sure,
it's unfortunate that it's also happening in little subcategories, whether
right,
you're too gay, not gay enough, too fat, too thin. you know,
So what's
and
not
that's,
gay enough me? Help, because listen, I'm gonna be totally honest with you, Wayne. I want to be totally transparent because that's what I
yeah.
like to do. A lot of the terminology or talking points are new to me, right? I
Hmm.
grew up in a Christian, community where you just didn't talk about it because it just was like literally going to send you to hell, right? And you will burn
Yeah.
forever and ever and ever. So,
Hmm.
a lot of stuff, I learned as I got older and I wanted to learn more and say, okay, help me, give me the words, give me the words so I can understand people better. So when you say not gay enough, what does that mean?
Like fitting into the stereotypical gay lifestyle.
Okay.
Um, not like, if you like sports but you're a gay person, you're not gay enough. If
Oh,
you
oh,
don't like drag
okay,
race, you're
okay,
not gay enough.
okay.
If
So
yeah, it's just,
stereotypes.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Um, it's just the stupid stuff.
yeah.
It's
I
just so
yeah,
stupid.
I have Sheila here that says it reminds her of never being white enough or to be too white or black enough to be too black, which she's experienced as well. And people are so weird with that. With what they, not that you go through it, Sheila, not for you, but for the people that put that on others. I
Yeah.
think it is so strange. It's certain things myself that I love. Like I love certain things that people, I guess, say as a black woman I should love, but I love music, period, right? So it's different genres of music that resonate with me. It's different songs that would resonate with me. And I have family that lives down in Texas that are cowboys and cowgirls. So there's some country that I've listened to and rocked out to and I'll dance to it and
Hmm.
everything because I like it. And so it's just interesting the things that people put on other people and then we have to like adopt them as truth and
Yeah.
it's not, right? So okay, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, especially it is very much just like that. Not being white enough, not being black enough. Like, you'd never actually fit into the gay category unless you follow these strict rules that nobody has set into place.
No,
That
who's
you,
gonna
exactly, and it's tough, but you do eventually kind of find your bearing.
Yeah.
But then I'm also one of those people, like, I'm friends with so many people, like, but it's, especially within the gay community too, it's those people that are deemed too gay, too straight. Um, the ones that are still in the closet, that are, like, I just love people.
Yeah.
Um, but then I'm a big advocate for, you know, being yourself. Um, don't don't let others tell you who you get to be.
Right.
Um, and that kind of hit hard with joining the drag community, because drag is done in so many different ways.
Yes.
Whereas I classify myself as kind of like doing old school drag. Um, but I have a lot of friends that do, like, very, like, out there drag, like
Okay.
horror drag.
Okay. So I
Um,
want to I want to pause real quick because I want to
yeah,
get
yeah,
to that, but I want to show the transition, right?
sure, sure, sure,
Because
sure.
I know, and I just want to acknowledge Eric's comment. It's funny how we always want to label things, but we can never agree of what that label constitutes, and that is
Hmm.
very true. Very true. We are complicated people. I tell you, we
Oh,
are
absolutely.
more complicated than we have to be. And so, I know I read in the article that at one point in time you kind of said you were bi because you thought that would be more accepted instead of saying so you said you knew it at a young age, but at what age did you say, what, I'm going to embrace the fullness of all that I am? At what age was that and how did you come to that brave decision?
I think I was 16.
Okay.
I remember I lived, it was in 2010, I had lived up north in, like, the Brimley, Sault Ste. Marie area with my
Mm,
oldest sister,
mm-hmm.
and kind of came to terms with it then. Like, I was out as bisexual to a couple of friends because it was easy.
So
And
explain that to me. What do you mean when you say it was easy? Do you think people accepted you?
I felt like at that point I could teeter the line of, I
Mm,
can be gay with the gay people and I can be straight with the straight people.
mm,
I
mhm.
didn't necessarily have to put a label on it.
Gotcha.
Um, but I remember talking to my sister about it, and I was like, I was out to my friends, but I wasn't out to any family members.
Mm,
And it was just kind of eating away at me one day. And I told my sister about it. And she just gave me this look of, that's what you were worried about?
Yes. Yeah.
And then looks at me and says, if I were to come out as bisexual to your brother-in-law, he would be outside looking for another woman to bring into our bed. I know that's a little bit of like very out there information, but I was like, but that right there let me know, like, okay, I will be accepted,
Yeah.
with no matter what I do. And then goes on to saying, if your nephew decides to come home one day and let us know that he's got a boyfriend, perfect. I'm going to treat him the exact same way I would treat your niece's boyfriends, and I'm like, cool. Like that just,
Was Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
it made me feel comfortable. It let me know that I was allowed to be who I wanted to be, or
Yeah.
who to be who I needed to be.
Who you needed to be.
Yeah, because this isn't, I don't want to sit here and say that I want to be gay, but this is who I am.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. So what was your fear? Did you feel like, you possibly would be ostracized? Like, did you hear that growing up that was like bad? I mean, I'm just trying to understand like because I always try to understand the foundation of what we struggle with, right? And
yeah.
try to understand the brain and why we choose to, because that's a defense mechanism, right? To
Mhm.
protect ourselves. So did you feel just because of societal pressures, or did you feel, and whatever you want if you don't want to talk about it, I'm cool with that, right? So this is
Right.
all like free will, but did you feel like there would be pressure within the family? Is that why you were afraid?
Yeah. Mainly just because I come from a huge family too,
Mm-hmm.
who all have like a lot of religious backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
knowing that, like, I grew up, going to church,
Mm-hmm.
with my giant family. Um, so yeah, it was like a lot of religion based things
Yeah.
around it.
Yeah.
Um, and just knowing where I grew up, seeing the things that happened on a daily basis, or like knowing the way that the people around us talked, I knew that no, this isn't something that I'm allowed to do.
That
Yeah.
language speaks so loud, and people do not
Especially
understand
to
that.
children.
Yes. Yeah.
Especially to children, because it took me so long to realize that it was all right to be who I am, but you can let children know right away
Mm.
that you are allowed to grow up and be who you are.
Oh, it just makes me so emotional. I just really like get that's just heavy, right?
Mhm.
That's heavy for a child because people do not understand the impact their words have on children. And
Yeah,
children are people always think they're like invisible, they don't hear, they don't understand what's going on. Children are very wise and
they
very
understand more than we do.
yeah. That's
Like,
true. That's true. That's true. That's true.
gosh.
And children naturally are free, right?
Mhm.
Children naturally are who they are. And then we teach them to have that shame. We teach them to hide and to mask. We teach them that. So then we have to like unpack all of that and undo all of that, unlearn all of that. So
Mhm.
so you said at 16 was when you decided, I'm going to share my full self with everyone. Um, so once that transition happened, and like you said, you moved and you were 20 years old, when did you decide to get into drag? Like, tell me more about that.
So that one's I I remember going to my first drag show and being terrified.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely terrified of and it's because like you've got like personally myself, I'm a big guy. And then you throw me into a dress and a wig and the pads, and it just kind of like makes you bigger, and then the shoes make you taller. It's like you've got this giant person walking towards you, you don't know what to do. It was yeah, I was terrified.
Yeah. Yeah.
Terrified of it. Um, but then I remember meeting my fiance, and we he had watched Drag Race in the past,
Mm.
and I had never really seen it. So I remember him turning it on. I was like, "Oh, this is fun." And then things started to click for me because in high school I did theater,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
knew out of high school I wanted to continue doing theater, but I'm like, I have to get a job. I have to be able to pay my bills. Like, I'm not living at home with mom and dad anymore. I have to think about my money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I was like, okay, I can't get on stage and do theater while working a full-time job. How can I get back on stage? And then drag was just kind of that outlet of being able to get back out there, entertain people. be my own costume artist and director, my own makeup artist, and really not have anybody to answer to. I would just have to find somebody who's doing a show, see if I could get put into a show, and then just do it.
Did somebody come and ask you like, hey, do you want to start doing this, or did you seek it out yourself?
I had to seek it out myself. And I remember when I first started, I was asking for tips and tricks, and a lot of what I got was, don't do it, it's too expensive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm like, wow, that's great advice to give to somebody who wants to get back on stage. Like, thank you for like, remind me not to talk to you ever again. Because yeah, it's expensive, but it's so fulfilling.
Okay, so
Like,
tell me how. Because you know what, I'm gonna be honest with you. Growing up, I didn't really see it. Like I didn't do, because I had children very young. I got married very young, so I was like living life, right? I just didn't experience a lot of that, and so but I'm always curious about things. And then I think I what was it? Probably about, I don't know, 10 years ago, I was visiting somewhere. Someone was like, oh, they're having a drag show. And I was like, oh, okay, let's go, because I was really curious and just kind of interested. And the energy was really high. And so I just always wondered, how do people transition into that? Because, and correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, it takes courage, of course, to say, okay, this is who I am, right? I'm a gay man, gay woman, what have you. Is there an extra amount of courage to then dress, up in like a feminine, persona, or however you want to call it? Is that an extra layer of courage?
Oh yeah. And it comes in so many different waves too, because you want to make sure that you are, everybody in the back of their mind says, I want to be the best.
Yeah.
And there's obviously, when I started, people who have been doing this for years before me, but I knew that I needed to hit the ground running. I needed to have the best costumes, the best hair, the best makeup. And then showing up for my first show, I definitely felt like that. But then looking at everybody else, I knew I shouldn't feel like that because everybody was just a much more elevated version of me, but I felt on top of the world.
Good.
And oh God, I just got off topic.
No, that's okay. No, I just want to, because I want to know. I mean, being brave is not easy, right?
Right.
And I know, I talk to different families and different people, and they're like, oh, I can accept that my son is gay, but I don't want him to dress as a woman. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So how was that getting to that level of bravery and honesty within yourself, that this is what I want to do? Like, how was that part of it?
It was rough, because it is kind of like an extra layer of coming out again.
Right.
Like at 16, I came out to my parents, let them know exactly like the life that I will be living. And then I remember at 17 getting into kind of a conflict with my father about it. And since then, just being gay, everything has like turned around. Like I feel so much love from my parents, and they're the type of people that would, like, if somebody wanted to come to them and be like, yeah, your son's gay, this is wrong, yada, 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 I know that they would fight tooth and nail to make sure that, the life that I'm living is a good life. But then we add this other aspect of doing drag, which then, okay, I got my parents to be okay with me being gay, but now there's different elements. Because a lot of people who don't know what drag is will look at it as being transgender.
Yes.
Which in my case is not at all. I am a gay man who likes to entertain the masses. But drag can absolutely, and I have seen drag be an outlet for the trans community to be able to go out and live their truth, even though it is a little bit of a character that they're putting on at that moment, but then it has helped them come out in the future. So it is kind of like coming out again. And I remember I was vocal about everything on Facebook, and at the time my mom didn't have a Facebook. So I was like, cool, I don't have to tell her.
Yeah, I don't have to tell my dad. I want to say on here, nobody will know.
Right. But then I had a lot of family on there, and I remember always posting about, like, if you see this, like, engage with it, but don't tell my parents. They don't know about this. And
Mm.
then I remember I had an aunt that was on there, um, who was my mom's little sister, and she ended up telling my mom, not as like a "Did you see what your son's doing?" but as
Right,
like
she was
she was
thoughtful.
proud of it. She
Yeah,
was happy to see it. You know,
yeah,
she has always been an advocate for my life, you know.
sure.
So it was just kind of an exciting thing, like, look at what your son's doing. Um, and I think the biggest thing was she had said at the beginning of my drag journey, I looked like my mother
Mm.
from like when my mom was in high school.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, oh, that's a compliment because my mom was beautiful when she
Oh,
was in high school. So I was like, cool, I'm doing something right here.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but then yeah, I just kind of came out to my mom with it and let her know like this is what it is, this is why I do it.
sure.
And for a minute there it was okay, keep doing it. I won't come to any of your shows. I don't really want to see it because this isn't who you are. But then
Mm,
I think back and I'm like, okay, all the shows I did in high school, you know, on stage is like that wasn't who I was either. I was playing a character.
mhm,
Cherry to me is a character that I
mhm,
get to play.
mhm.
Um and then
Cherry Poppins.
Cherry Poppins, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I remember she got a hold of me one day and told me that, hey, your dad saw your pictures because she got Facebook.
Mm.
And yeah, told me that my dad saw my pictures and said that I looked very mature when I was in drag. I was like, well, that's not bad.
Right,
That's not a bad. You're not saying anything mean.
right,
Thank you.
right,
Like, and
right.
then I remember asking her, I was like, is this something that we can now open up and I can just kind of like talk about? And she's
About
like,
yeah.
yeah, I don't see why not. And we haven't like officially had the conversation, you know, with my dad about like this is what I do, this is what it is, yada yada yada. But like he knows I do it,
Sometimes it's
and
hard for people to navigate through those conversations,
yeah,
you know, and I think that's the part that people miss sometimes is that everyone involved is going through that process, right?
hmm
And I was talking to someone one day, and she was really struggling with her child being gay. And, and I told her, I was totally transparent and, trying to connect with her. I said, what people don't understand is that parents, especially if you come from a certain teaching background, you are essentially kind of, and I hate to use this word, but it's true because grief is like has a lot of parts to it. You're kind of grieving what you thought would be,
hmm
right? Because as parents, we naturally like have these dreams of our children, doing this and doing that. And then if you find out, oh, that's not going to be exactly how, which we should not do, right? We should
hmm
allow them to live their own lives, but we naturally do it. So people take time, some have to have time to kind of go through that process as well. So, he probably was still processing the what some people would consider a loss when really
hmm
it's not, but it is. Do you understand what
right,
I'm saying?
yeah, no,
I'm not even a
absolutely,
negative. I'm just trying to be
yeah.
like, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, and I feel like my parents are definitely proud of me. I think they would be more proud if they saw how much money I was bringing in from it.
Oh yeah.
I am pretty sure my mom is watching this right now too. So, mom, um, just to let you know, I make a lot of money off of this. That's not why I do it though. Uh,
But it
but
doesn't
yeah,
it doesn't hurt to make
no,
sure,
absolutely. And I know, like, you know, parents just want to make sure that you're gonna make a good living for yourself. And this it absolutely allows me to bring in a little bit of extra money and put it back into what I'm doing. And yeah,
cool. I believe in freedom, right? I
yes.
believe that people should be free to be themselves, and I always have this sorrow when I think about people that don't operate in their free self, right? I remember years ago there was an older woman that saw my nose ring, something as small as a nose ring, and she said, I always wanted to have a nose ring, but I was too afraid to get it. I'm like, girl, get that nose ring, like get
Do
it.
it.
Yes, I just,
Absolutely.
I can't. I've just always been a believer in living right,
hmm
and just being free to live. And so it just makes me sad when people don't feel like they can be themselves,
Right.
so I applaud you for living your truth. So yeah, so what kind of shows do you have coming up? Because I know you all just did the one here. What do you all have coming up?
My next show is actually tomorrow.
Oh,
at the Soaring Eagle Casino in Mount Pleasant.
oh, yeah,
It is a free event for now 18 and up. It used to be 21 because we are inside of a bar in the back of the casino.
yeah.
Um, but they found a way to make sure that the minors aren't drinking since they're allowed to be in there to eat anyway. So,
Which is true. Which is true.
yep. So they opened it up to 18 plus. It's a free event. Um, there's, gosh, 6 or 7 of us coming out to do this show. It's one of my favorite shows that we get to do because the venue is beautiful. The amenities that we get with it are phenomenal. The people I get to work with for it, just high class drag. They're some of the best people that I've ever actually been able to meet in my life. And then the producer of it, his name is Bradley Powers,
Oh,
gave me one of my first shows. And knowing, kind of what I looked like from that first show, and knowing that I was getting booked for amateur nights at Rumors nightclub, not making anything but tip money, but now he's moved me into a position of, I want to make sure you get paid.
oh, full circle moment. That's
Yes,
good
yes.
deal.
So being able to have this person see that in me, um, it's an amazing feeling. So then now also being able to take it back to kind of where I got my roots, because
Mhm.
Cherry started in Mount Pleasant.
Oh, yeah.
She started in my apartment out there. So being able to take it back there and also show people kind of like everything I've been working on. It's nice because then I get to see all my friends and they get to come have a good time with all the entertainers. And so yeah, so my next one is tomorrow.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I
Yeah.
always applaud you all for being able to move around in those heels because I can barely wear heels anymore. So I always applaud that because, yeah,
You try to forget about it. You
yeah,
do. Most heels aren't made to carry my weight.
yeah,
So yeah, my toes absolutely hurt all the time.
yeah.
Uh I could not tell you how many bruises I have had on my, like, underneath my big toenails,
Oh, gracious.
but
Yeah.
you kind of just work through the pain.
Oh no, well, see, I wore heels for years, so I'm like, no, I don't need that anymore. I will flat foot it as much as possible, and I'm good. Well, I really appreciate you for taking this time to share your story and just kind of talk with me today. What would you tell somebody that was like you said 16, 10 years old that is kind of struggling with identity or just that conversation? What would you tell them if you could look back and like something you would probably tell yourself?
Hmm. Take it at your own pace.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody else try and tell you who you are meant to be. Don't let anybody else try and push you out and make sure that, like, don't let anybody take your truth away from you, because your truth is your truth.
Yeah.
No matter what mom, dad, sister, brother, aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa say about it, it's your truth. It's nobody else's.
Yeah.
But then also do know, especially when it comes to the gay community, one of the biggest things that gets thrown around all the time is you get to choose your own family.
Mm.
I've been lucky enough to where, I get to choose my own family, but I still have my family backing me. But a
Sure.
lot of people don't get that. They're
Yeah.
not allowed that. So then we do have to go out and choose our own family and know that there are people out there that are going to love you, no matter how you decide to live your life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. I always tell people that um, being kind to a person, being compassionate to a person, does not mean that you want to echo their life, right?
Right.
It does not mean that you are choosing that same lifestyle, or I hate saying lifestyle, but that, whatever. I don't know the right word to say. I'm sorry, because I know it's not like a lifestyle, but just even that walk, right? That journey
Mm-hmm.
through life. I'll put it that way. So saying that, I love you, or, I accept you as your true self. I don't know why people can't look at those two different things and say, you know what, no one's asking you to do this with me. No one's
Right.
asking you to do this with me, but just show me compassion and
Yeah.
just show me, yeah, some humanity, right?
Yeah. Like, my biggest thing is, like, especially the people who are against, like, gay marriage. If you don't like gay marriage, don't get gay married.
Mm. Yeah,
You don't have to do it. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's
No,
it's
it's
not that hard. It's That's what it is. Like,
let it let live, man. Yeah.
yeah,
Live and let live. Is that how it goes? Live and let live. That's what, yeah. You
yep.
know, yeah, yeah. Just let people be. So well, I appreciate you, Wayne. I appreciate you for is that your crown back there?
It is. It is. I just recently won a pageant in March,
Oh,
um,
okay.
called the Queen of Hearts pageant out here in Grand Rapids. It's the longest running drag pageant in West
Okay.
Michigan. I think I'm number 42 or 43.
Oh, okay. Wow.
It started
Wow.
in the 70s. So yeah, so I actually competed for it 2 years ago and lost. I came in fourth place out of four. And then I went back this year and decided, I'm going to try it again because I find a lot of fun in pageantry. It
Yeah.
also helps because you get all your score sheets at the end.
Oh,
It
yeah.
helps me to, because your judges are also people who are doing drag, who, like, a lot of my judges were former winners of this
Oh,
crown. So to be
yeah.
able to have them kind of like pick and critique what I should change up
Yeah. And
is super
praise.
nice.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Because
Praise.
these are the people I look up to. So I want to make sure that everything that I'm doing, like, they understand, especially, if I'm doing something out of the norm, I want them to be able to see it
Yeah.
and kind of help me fix it where it needs to be fixed. Um, so that's why I do like pageantry and all that. And it also kind of puts a timestamp on me of, well, you need to get this done by this time. You don't have a choice, because I can be lazy when it comes to creating my new costumes.
Yeah.
So I know that, okay, I've got to get this done by this time. And then it just adds something else to throw into my closet to be able to use later down the road.
No, that's
So,
awesome. That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you. I know I've ended like 3 or 4 times. But yeah, I do appreciate your time and thank you so much for the conversation. And yeah, I wish you the best. I really do. Thank
thank
you.
you so much.
Oh, of course, of course. All right, well, take care and good luck tomorrow.
You as well. Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye.
Bye bye.